Hello and welcome, my fellow nerds, back to Nerdin, or if you're totally new here, thank you so much for joining us. I am Christian, and I'll be your host for tonight's episode of Totally Bored, and tonight, we're gonna dig into some more stats for nerds. Let's get into it. So if you're unfamiliar with these videos, I've done one other one so far for the month of January this year, and I'm just going to be talking over new games that I've added to my collection, new games that I have played, and just my overall stats for the month, just as kind of a way to give myself little milestone periods so that I can look back and see where I was at that point in time with board gaming, and just see my evolution throughout it. But of course, this is also a chance to provide you guys with some insight into the things that I play, things that I like, and maybe show you some new games along the way that you might not have come across before. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the new games that I added to my collection. This month, there is 4, with a little bit of a caveat to the last episode, one that I kind of forgot to mention because it hasn't been brought up at any other point in time, other than the video I just released last week. And that game is going to be Herd Mentality. This is a game that my wife got for Christmas because she loves cows, and party games are just easy to be able to play. So this one does require, I believe, at least 4 people. So it is a little bit harder to table, but we do have a group that isn't really good at doing board games. I don't really like board games all that much, but a party game is a little bit easier to get them down for. Mostly they like Cards Against Humanity. So this is kind of similar to that, but a little bit different because it's just got different context, and it's not necessarily about being funny. It's just about getting the same answer as everyone else, and it's not a bad game. We also played this for the first time this month, which is why this is in this video as well. Overall, it's not a bad game. We have the deluxe version that has the nice texture on front and the expansion on the inside, but overall, it's a pretty decent game. She likes it. She's very happy with it. If you saw my how to organize your gaming shelves video, this was in my top tier of shelves just because of the wife, because it's her game and she loves it. If you haven't seen that video yet, go ahead and check out the card up here and watch that once this video is over. But yeah, overall, not a bad game. It's in our collection. Like I said, I just forgot to bring it up last month, and we didn't get to actually play it until this month. So it is what it is. Or until February, I should say, because it's March now, but you know what I mean. Alright, so now we're going to start digging into the one large board game haul that I got. I placed one order and got all of these games together. I don't regret a single bit of them. And the next ones that I'm about to go over are games that I got because I wanted to flesh out my pocket collection with things that were a little more deep, but could still travel with me and give me alternate things to play, because a lot of the time I'm playing with my dad and we're in a very small setting, so we don't get to play a lot of big games. We're usually doing a lot of pocket games, and I didn't really have a whole lot going on for pocket games until this month. I kind of upped the game there a little bit. I said game way too much, and I apologize for that one. So anyways, let's go ahead and start off here with Sail. This is literally just fits in the palms of my hands. It's a little bit bigger, but not too much. This is a 2-player cooperative trick-taking game that is freaking impossible. I got this one specifically for me and my dad because I knew we'd probably be the only ones to play it, but it seemed like a really good 2-player experience, and it is so challenging. There's several scenarios in this book, or in this game, and ultimately you're using trick-taking to be able to move your ship and attack this kraken and try to survive its onslaught as you sail through the seas trying to get to your endpoint to a safe destination. And it is so difficult because it's like SkyTeam. You're not allowed to communicate what you're doing or what you have. You can talk in between rounds to get like game plan ideas and things like that, but you can't talk during play, and you just have to know what the other person has, and it is so incredibly challenging. Like, having someone play a card and then trying to interpret what they mean by playing that card is just insane. And then you have to have something that even pairs with that card to make it work, and it has all of like the normal trick-taking mechanisms in there, plus a few extra steps and add-ons to it, and it's a neat time. I'm gonna have to do a full review for this one, especially with Sail Legacy coming out, which definitely seems very intimidating. I feel like I need to master this one first before I can consider a Legacy game for this, but that is the second newest game to our collection. Well, the first one that we actually got in February. So, next up here is another all-play game with Chomp. This one actually wasn't part of the order. I actually don't know if they want to be named, but this came from somebody in the Foster the Meeple Discord. They had a copy of Chomp that they got off of someone else for just like $5 on top of what they were already ordering. Decided they didn't want this game, and it had been sitting on their shelves, and I was just asking around in the Discord as to what people thought about Chomp, because I was debating on adding it to my order, and this guy hopped in and just said, I have a copy. If you want it for free, I'll send it to you. So I have a copy of Chomp with the expansion and the deluxe components, and wow, I really can't believe that neither of those two wanted this game. I really enjoy it. So shout out to that person from the Foster the Meeple Discord. Like I said, I don't think they really want their name shared, so I'm not going to disclose it. But shout out to you. This is awesome. I'm so glad to have this game, and thank you for saving me a few bucks with it. It's a great time. And I got this before I got the rest of the game, so I've had more time with this, but we'll get more into that into the stats. Next up here, from that same order, obviously excluding Chomp still, so this is with sale and another game later on, we have Trailblazers Deluxe Edition. Now, you're probably looking at this and saying, this is not a pocket game, that's a full box. Well, the Deluxe Edition comes with the clamshell case that allows you to take it on the go. And you can get just this version, just the travel size version. It's like 25 bucks, I think, somewhere around there. It's not super expensive. The reason I got the Deluxe Edition is because the normal travel size version only does 1 to 4 players, whereas the Deluxe version does 1 to 8 players. It gives you these plastic cards that are waterproof, which is a little extra. You don't necessarily need that, to be quite honest. But it also gives you both expansions for the game and just like everything included in this game. But it also includes the clamshell travel case so that you can have a 1 to 8 player pocket game on the go, which is just incredible. This is probably this is getting to be one of my top 10 games. It is so intriguing, so much fun, so easy to just take with me, and so impossible to beat. I don't know why these games are just so hard for me, but man, they pack a lot of bite. So yeah, I got the Deluxe Edition. Comes with all the deluxe upgraded components. Again, you can get just the travel size version, and then you can get like travel size versions of the Animals expansion, which I think is the only one you really need. The Adventures expansion is okay. I don't think it's necessary, but I just wanted the full experience. I knew that right out the gate. I had done my research on it. I knew I wanted the deluxe version, so that's what I got. I think the travel size version with the Animals expansion is plenty fine. I guess this doesn't come with the Sasquatch expansion. I should mention that. That is the only expansion so far that does not come with the deluxe edition of Trailblazers. So look into that one if that's something you want, but I'm definitely going to be doing a review on this game because it is just incredible. So, last up for the new games to our collection here, this is not a pocket game, but this was in the same order, and that is Fromage. I've heard so many people talk about it. I mean, you heard me bring up Foster the Meeple Discord earlier. This is like such a huge game in their collection. Jamie's always talking about it, and I did a lot of research on it, and I'm just like, it's worker placement in just a really fun manner. It's about cheese. It's French. I gotta have it. And I also wanted to get it before the Kickstarter for the expansion Formaggio comes out. Or Formaggio. It's the Italian version of cheese. That's all I know. And I wanted to get this game and be able to play it before that expansion went up on Kickstarter, so that way I could have played this and be able to know if that's an expansion worth getting for me. And this is another one that has risen up to like that top 10 range for me. Fromage, so excellent. Definitely going to be doing a review on this. I did get the limited edition because I wanted the Lazy Susan. You could probably honestly live without it. It also comes with the screen printed pieces, which I'm to die for with that stuff. But obviously the components aren't the big draw to a game. The quality of them, it helps, but that's not like the big draw to a game. The big draws to any game are how the game plays and just being able to enjoy it itself. But the pieces are a nice benefit. And like I said, I wanted the Lazy Susan. There's some nitpicks I have about the Lazy Susan, but that's something I'll cover in the actual review video. So there is all of the games that I have added to my collection this month, plus the one caveat for Herb Mentality. Now we can move on to talking about our normal stats here. So I'm sorry, I'm going to have to be looking at my phone because I have everything recorded on BG Stats. So it's kind of hard to reference it and be able to look and do everything at the same time, so I'm sorry. So for the month of February in 2025, I had a total of 94 plays across 24 games. And of those, I had 8 new to me games, which includes 5 of the new games to my collection that you just saw. Or no, 4 of them, sorry. No, I guess it was all 5 of them. I did play all 5 of them this month, and it was the first time I played all of them, so there is that. But I had a total of 8 new to me games, so there's 3 more outside of just those, and they are actually my dad's games. Those are Critters at War, Flies, Lies, and Supplies. We got the other version of the Critters at War game, the version of Air, Land, and Sea. Flies, Lies, and Supplies, I think I actually prefer more than the Air, Land, and Sea game. The nice thing is with the 2 of them, you can mix and match between the 2 of them to get, like, basically exactly the game you want. And it also includes an epic mode where you can, like, have more arenas going at the same time and just make it a more intense game. We still have yet to try that mode out and actually interacting with the 2 together. But Lies, Flies, and Supplies is a really good time. I definitely gel with that one a lot more than I do Air, Land, and Sea. I have specific reasons for that, but I'm not going to dive into it here. Outside of that, he also got his first all-play game. He got Lure, the fishing game, and I'm actually quite impressed by that one. I had that on my wish list because I've just been really into the aquatic themes lately, as I've brought up in other videos. And I just thought it seemed really cool. It seemed like a dice roller that I might actually enjoy because it's so simple, it's so easy, and it's cheeky and fun. It's not anything that takes itself seriously at all. And I really enjoy that about it. I mean, obviously you can get a little competitive with it, but you don't really have to. It's just, like I said, it's just cheeky and fun. You're just throwing out your lure and trying to catch some fish. And it's just really simple, really quick. You get to huck a lot of dice in a really fun manner. The thing with me with dice games is I just don't like dice games that take themselves too seriously, and of course I don't like roll and write games. So, and lastly for my new to me games for this month was Mysterium Park. We finally got a Mysterium game. We had been eyeballing the base game itself for a while, but then we looked into it and realized Mysterium Park was actually going to be easier for us to get to the table and play more often. And yeah, I've just over this last weekend here, like the last few days of February and the first couple days of March, played Mysterium Park like several times. Like I think it was like 6 or 7 times I've played it already, because it's just that easy to run a game of it, and it's quite fun. I've played as both the ghost and the psychic detective, and both sides are so intriguing. Like, either side really just feels like you're part of a D&D campaign without the dice. Like, it feels like a puzzle situation in D&D. Especially when you're the ghost, you're watching your players try to interpret the clues that you're giving them or the visions that you're giving them. And they just go in all the wrong directions, and you're just watching everything derail right in front of you, but you can't say anything about it because you're not allowed to. And being on the other side, throwing out all these guesses and, like, trying to read the face of the ghost, like, I know you're not supposed to do that either, but it's just so funny seeing the ghost's reactions to all of your incorrect assumptions about what the vision card is representing, and just, like, missing what should be so obvious right in front of you because you're overanalyzing it. That was the biggest problem all of us ran into, is we kept trying to dig too deep into these vision cards, when really it was like, the primary color here is red, that card is red. That was the whole connection. And we're, like, reading in all these little small details, and it's just so silly and goofy. I love Mysterium Park. I might have to pick up a copy of that for myself at some point, to be honest, because it is just so cheeky fun. Base Mysterium, I don't know if we'll actually end up getting that. We might do it as, like, an expansion for Mysterium Park, to be able to pull some of those cards in and play with those, just to keep things a little bit fresher. But ultimately, Mysterium Park on its own is just a great time. I love it. So that is all of the new to me games for this month. We'll just kind of talk over the rest of our stats here, total plays and everything like that. So in the Dimes category, games that I've played more than 10 times, we actually have 3 this time. I got a lot of plays in February. I'm very proud of myself, actually. So the 3 that made it to 10 plus plays this month, number 1 is Deducto at 14 plays. And that's kind of skewed a little bit because the games of Deducto only take like 5 minutes, so it's just easy for my dad and I to bust it out, shuffle up the cards, deal, and play. But we love it. Deducto is such a good time. It's just this little deduction game. You're playing out cards, trying to guess who you are, where you are, and what you're wearing. And it's just so fun. Of course, second place is Trailblazers at 11 plays. No surprise there. I've already riffed and just loved so much on Trailblazers out of just this video without even getting to the review. But tied for second place with Trailblazers is actually Chomp. I didn't realize I had played this game that much, but It's just so fun. Like, they're kind of in a similar vein, but also different. Because Trailblazers is basically a pipe puzzle, whereas Chomp is... It's also tile laying, but it's a different flavor of it. So these games are completely different, and to me, worth having both of them at the same time, because they give off such different vibes. You're doing things in different ways. Yes, it's still ultimately laying tile cards next to and on top of each other to score points, but the way in which you do it and have to plan out each one is just so different. So the fact that both of those got exactly 11 plays during February is so funny to me. I actually really love that. So those are my dimes. For my fives, the games that got 5 or more plays. Number 4 is Sea Salt and Paper. We played that a total of 8 times. This is something I'm gonna add a little detail to the end of this video here before we leave. But we played Sea Salt and Paper 8 times. I'm coming more to the conclusion that I'm not a huge fan of Sea Salt and Paper. I can see it being people's jam, but the more and more I play it, the less and less I like it. And we did add the extra salt expansion to it, which to me honestly kind of made it worse. But that's neither here nor there. People have their own opinions on it. I'm not going to poo-poo on it too much. It's just not my type of game. And like I said, the more and more I play it, the less I like it. So, number 5 was Critters at War, Flies, Lies, and Supplies. We got 5 plays out of that one already. It was a great time. And actually tied with it is the base Air, Land, and Sea Critters at War edition at 5 plays as well. So, I mean, we played them about the same, but I do end up liking Flies, Lies, and Supplies more. Number 7 is Corridor Pac-Man, also at 5 plays. So I guess we have 3 games tied for 5th place as well. It's actually surprising how many of these games I tied with on the amount of plays. But yeah, that was Corridor Pac-Man. Getting to play that again is quite nice. We realized that it's actually not too hard to just play anywhere, because it's just about the size of a normal chessboard, and that's like really all the space that it takes up, minus the box. But Corridor is just another one of those silly games as well. Of course, I have the Pac-Man version, but I've only ever played it as just the head-to-head standard Corridor version, but that's okay. So we got a few games just bubbling outside of the 5s area, the games that we only got 4 plays of. We got 4 plays of Fromage. I kind of wish it was more, but I don't really have the time very often to be able to sit and play a full board game. I squeeze in as many as I can, but it doesn't end up being too many. I would like to do more of it, and I'm working on trying to do more of it. But getting 4 plays of Fromage, honestly, is pretty impressive to me. 2 of those were solo, and then 1 I played with my dad, and then 1 I played with my mom and my dad. So I've done 1, 2, and 3 players. I have yet to play a 4-player game of it, but getting to play 3 players was honestly pretty good. Right after that, also at 4 plays, was Lure. We got it towards the end of February, otherwise we probably would have played it more. It's a really good game, I like it, and I think we would have played it a lot more had we gotten it sooner, but we got it like a week and a half before the end of February, so like half the month was already over. And of course, the shortest month of the year, so we don't have as many days to kind of make that up, but that's fine. We'll definitely be getting more plays of it this month, I'm sure, so I can give you more input on that the next time we do one of these. Right after that, also at 4 plays, was Tinderblocks, a game I've had for a while. I didn't really play a whole lot. I played it a few times when we first got it, and like maybe a couple of times after we got back from the trip that we got it, and it's alright. So then I started playing it with my dad, and yeah, we've been having fun with that one too. It's just a really small game. You can literally take that anywhere. It's a good time. I enjoy Tinderblocks. So everything else after that is 3 or less plays, so I'm not going to worry about covering those. But like I said, I got 94 plays in this month, which I think is actually a record for me in terms of how many games I've played. I think this is also a record for me for how many times I've played a single game in a month, other than Sea Salt and Paper, but I'm kind of disqualifying that because it's a card game. And the last thing I want to talk about this video is games that I have culled, games that are out of my collection and I am not going to own again. The first one of those is Sea Salt and Paper. I actually ended up giving that copy to my dad. He enjoys the game a lot more than I do. I figure he and I can still play it together from time to time, but that way he can have it to be able to play with my mom and not have to worry about borrowing it from me. It's just his to take with him and play wherever he wants, And then if he wants to play a game with me, he can bring it and we can play it together, and it's fine. It's not a big deal. I'll still play it. I'm just not the biggest fan of Sea Salt and Paper. And I really can't, like, put an explicit finger on what it is, other than maybe I just have terrible luck. And there is a lot of luck involved in that game. There's, like, the slightest amount of strategy, but really it all boils down to luck, in my opinion. So, again, it is what it is. People can have their own opinions on it. I don't like the game enough to keep it, so it's gone. I think I've also basically officially gotten rid of Framework. My dad hasn't decided if he actually wants to keep it or not yet, because he hasn't played it, but I know that either way it's going to be leaving my collection, even if it doesn't go to his. So I'll consider that a cold game as well. So 2 games out of my collection, but I have also expanded it with another 4 games that are all very near and dear to me. I love all 4 of them. I'm not going to say equally. There are 2 that definitely stand above the rest, but I still like the other 2, and they're still good times to have in my collection. So that is it for the month of February's stats and new games to my collection. Let me know what you guys think of this down in the comments below. Again, this is more of a posterity piece for myself, but if you got any entertainment out of this or any information, that would be awesome. I definitely appreciate if you guys enjoy our content. And if you do, don't forget to support the channel by clicking that like and subscribe button down below to help boost us. That would be incredible. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. As always, we hope you enjoy your stay, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.